Hi, I'm Misty, and today we're going to be doing a recording of me in FL Studio because I figure it's one of the best ways to get my ideas out and my thoughts together in one place. Um, and so I'm going to go through a little bit about my process. It's not very formal. I'm not a real musician. I learned everything in bits and pieces off of the internet and then came to my own conclusions on a lot of things. So uh, I might go about a lot of things in the wrong way or completely say the wrong thing. But if that's the case, just work with it because in my case, I love chaos. So um, today we're going to be showing you some of that. So this is FL Studio. I have nothing loaded in at all, and I guess one of the first things that I would do is load up a synth or a voice, people call them. Um, Flex is a really good one because it has a lot packed into it. It's got synths and a control board. Um, a lot of synths have that, but this one is like very streamlined and it's got what's most important right there. Um, it's got pay to win packs. I avoid those because in this day and age, you can get all sorts of synths and synth sounds for free. And Flex comes with its own synth packs anyway. So a lot of these ones, actually, all of these are free ones. I have the full edition, so these might not show completely for you, but you should have a good chunk of them. Um, these are the essentials. They have a lot of the what you would look for. Uh, I visit these ones a lot, but lately, since I got my electric guitar, which is currently still packed, um, after I've still moved, I just moved, so it's packed. So we're not going to be using that right now, but lately I've been avoiding the synth guitars because I got that. And even though I've never really incorporated actual guitar other than one or two times. But you have the voices here and you can pick them. Um, and you can play them. One of them that I really like is Steinway. So I just did that on my keyboard. I don't have my actual musical keyboard plugged in because, like I said, I moved. Um, but we're just going to work with the computer keyboard today. And that's good because it also shows us like how easy it can be sometimes. I think a lot of music in general is overcomplicated by all of the options, so it seems really complex. But the actual core of music itself is just sound. And once you understand how to label them in your mind, everyone has their own way to do that. Um, and for me, it's just sort of by feel. Um, it becomes a lot easier to form a goal. And yeah, it's getting really dark in here, so let me turn on a light. Okay. So we got the Steinway selected, one of my favorites. And then we're gonna go over to our mixer here. Mixer is one of the most important parts of the program. It's where you mix everything. Here's our master track. I forgot what they're called. I think they're just called tracks or inserts. Inserts, I guess. Yeah. Our master is here. That's got everything by default is piped into that. And then everything else you can see as we select these, it's got the wire is connected to the master by default, like I said. If you want to change them, you can do it here, I think. Yeah, you click the end of it and it detaches, and then you can click the start of another one, and then it goes there. And so if you go here, then this one goes here, but this one still goes to this one. So anything that's assigned to insert 3, so I just set this to 3, will be piped through to insert 8, which then goes back to master. And that's all based on old rack-based hardware, or like studios where you have the giant boards with the dials, all these wires. All these would have different mechanisms on those types of systems. But in today's age, we have the disappearing UI and arrows in colors, I guess, and cool sounds, and laptops and computers. So we want to make some sounds now, and now that we're on track 3, we're not even going through to master. Well, we are through track 8, but to build on our chaos structure that we have right now, we're just going to add one effect to the 8th insert, and I will choose Destructor. I like that one. It's a good one. It's got a lot of presets, and a lot of them have presets, and that's not always a highlight, but in this one it's pretty good. So I want to put an effect on insert 8 because you can see how it has altered the sound from our voice that's on 3. So it's coming from 3, which has no effects on it. They're all empty here, and this is default. And it's being piped through this. So if I were to remove this by clicking the end of it while having it selected, then that no longer goes to master, so we wouldn't hear anything at all. So we could pipe that back to master and go back to 3. We can hear it now, but then we can remove this and then put it back on master, and then we have it back to normal. So both our mixer is back to what it was at the start, and the voice has no effects on it because these are not connected anymore. So I think that's a good overview of the mixer, or like the basics of the mixer. You got some other buttons here that I did not go over, so I'll just do those real quick. You got the volume, the big one. This one is left-right separation, so you can change the audio on how it sounds, face the left side or the right side. This button swaps that, so you don't have to redial it if you want to do that, or if you want to do like a left right swap thing while you're recording, you can do that. Reverse polarity does something that I don't really know. This button, track latency, probably does something important. I never used it. And then arm disk has to do with plugging in instruments and external equipment, or like other devices that synchronize with FL Studio. In that case, we're not going to be touching it today. And the other thing that I want to show today is the chord progression creator, which is one of my favorite areas in FL Studio because they really just killed it with it. So we're gonna go here. We're gonna make a new block with the default pattern, which in this case is our Steinway. I haven't changed any of this, but you can. Right here are our main envelope dials, and this would be attack, hold, decay, sustain, and release. The top row affects the filter, which is this one, and the sound comes through the synth, hits the filter and the envelopes, and then you can kind of think of how much gets through the filter is what the second row applies onto, if that makes sense. And then that goes through the master filter, which is like the final say, and then you got some effects and the limiter. So if it's too loud or too quiet, you might be able to do that, fix that here. It's also got some other options here too. And then you got all the filter selections for the master, and then just a volume at the end. So that's the overview of Flex. If you don't know AHDSR, I would Google it. They're pretty core to most synthesizers generally, but if I were to guess, you might already know a lot of it. So next we will go to the chord progression generator. So that block that I laid out, I double clicked it. I'll go to the, it'll open the piano roll. You could just make your own if you want. I do that sometimes, but usually I start with the chord progression thing. And so what that does is it'll automatically place the chords for you, and here you can sort of like build them. So I tend to put my key in minor harmonic for no reason, and then I choose whichever one sounds good to me. In this case, I will just choose a random one and see how it sounds. It's a little bit too joyful at the moment. Let's try E. I'm not super familiar on my key and associations with emotion, but we'll just discover it together, I guess. I do remember E is very powerful, actually. So probably gonna go like an A. We're not changing that. We're gonna go generate. Yeah. So we're gonna go A minor harmonic. I'm gonna change this last one. So this little button at the corner of each note indicates the bass note for the chord. So when you hit that, you can see it appear and disappear. And then this one at the top right of each one is octave, and you can sort of drag up and down for those. And then if you right click, you get before we get into right click, actually, you can lock these. So if you want to re-roll, it saves them. And then this will let you just roll another one just specific to this block. So it would sound good if there was like if it just repeated there, but I want to go through some of the other settings here. So here we got our progression. Here are some other good starting points. These are common chord progressions that have been thought of through other more official means that I'm not aware of. But when I'm having trouble getting a new chord progression, this menu is really good because it lets you sort of get landing for a specific tone, I guess. But we're gonna ignore that because we got our progression here. Rhythm it'll keep your progression that you have loaded, and it will sort of like chop it up. You can also do it manually here by clicking and dragging and extending. So you can mix things around. You can add new chords, I think. Yeah, by going to the end and right clicking. Too low. It's still too low. See, I don't know why it's not just restarting right away. It should do that. Maybe they updated it. Maybe it has to do with that. No, that's the playhead. Anyways, we got some defaults here. Let's go push pull. Right, I think oh, I know why it's not restarting. Is because I made this block over here so damn long. So if we exit that, go out here and go back into the chord progression tool, it should restart. Or even earlier because now it's too short. So you want to sort of line it up with how long you have here, because it might cut off. But if it's too short, it doesn't matter, because if you have extra and it's too short, you can always extend it afterwards. But in this case, just for simplicity in the UI, we're going to get these to be, so it's going to end right here. So we got, I think we lost our progression. That's okay. Let's see if we can go back. Here, yeah, here we go. Okay. There we go. So now it's repeating, and we have a looping chord progression. It's simple, but it works, and we can change this. So if you click accept, you can go in and we can go increase the tempo if we want. And then we can go back to the chord progression. So a lot of these chords that are just appearing are being rolled right on the spot. So if you don't like them, you can So now we have something that I kind of like, and we're gonna go to performance. Performance has a lot of cool things in it. It lets you kind of auto chop your chord progression into like different styles, and like here's I wanted to apply to all of these. So you can just apply to one if you click one, but in this case, if you click the top here, it'll unselect, and then you can choose one. Now that's too much because our BPM is high. It's not going to sound very good. So you can kind of experiment, mix and match. I don't rely too heavily on this in this case because I like just the standard chords, and so I wouldn't use the arpeggiator here. That's what ARP stands for. I might use something else. Chop, just straight chops it. Sometimes it's hard to see if any of these dials are doing anything. Sometimes, depending on the length of the block, it's not going to do anything. But it's always fun to just twiddle around with them and see what happens. And sounds pretty good. If you want to change the scaling of how it does that application, you can do that here. this one, it's simple, very poppy. I'm just gonna click accept, and now we're here in the piano roll. Now that we have this, we can go to, we can close this for the moment. Turn this down a little bit. We can click the wrong thing, but that's a good example of how you can just swap entire tracks over. But so attack on your volume is going to be one of the most noticeable because it basically affects on how hard the digital key press is. And I think that's separate from any actual weighted keys that you may have. So if you have like a weighted keyboard, musical keyboard, it still affects that, like it supersedes that sensitivity. So H applies, I think, how long for some voices it will hold. I don't think it works for all voices. Decay is how long the tail end of that is, if I'm not mistaken. Sustain, I believe, is the intensity of that, like of the entire arc of the envelope for the sound, and then the release is the ending, like the actual tail. And so if you turn that all the way up, you're gonna have really echo. Like even with these off. You can hear how it's still ringing. Now with these up, it's kind of sustained a little bit more. You can't really see it, but you can hear it, and that's kind of how the HDSR works in the lamest nutshell ever. So now that we have our progression, we can copy it over and over again, switch over to song mode. We can get a drum. I use FPC a lot, and I like to just have to make a new pattern first. So here's our drum pattern. These are going to be different sizes, so I shouldn't worry about that. So you can go through here and just cycle through. FPC has so many loops and just basic templates and kits. And our BPM is too high, so I'm gonna go 160. And we're gonna find one that sounds good. I kind of like that one already. So what I like to do is go into the drum kits after you have them placed. You double click and you can see how they're actually designed. I don't know why it's so small. There we go. So here's our kit. Pretty straightforward. Because drum kits can be simple like this, it's really easy to reuse and rehash them, and so that's why it's less of a problem when someone copies the drum sound. For example, like the Amen break that's in every breakbeat song. That's a popular one. But what I like to do, because I'm an originality nerd, even though I totally rip things off all the time, is to just go into it and edit it a little bit. So I might just command click. I'm on Mac, so command click the title here to select all of them in that row. You can move that up to a different one, maybe not the snare, but maybe a different one like this. I forgot to choose my kit, my drum sound, actually, now that I remember. So in FPC, we can go back here and choose one of their actual drums. I like the Tama. Now, whatever that tambourine is, I don't like, so I'm gonna get rid of that. So already it's kind of sounding not bad. So here, I might want to continue the closed hats because that might sound better. So I'm gonna go make a new one, and I'm gonna right click the top of it. I'm gonna click make unique, and that's gonna make a whole nother pattern for me. And so it's technically independent of the first pattern. So we can double click that, and it looks the same for now because I haven't changed it, but I'm gonna remove these ones. Remove these ones. I thought the delete key would work. It doesn't. So that's what we have for the moment. I'm gonna close this for the moment, and this, because we're not even using Destructor anymore. And we're gonna go, excuse me. We're gonna go here. We're gonna assign our drums to a track, 4 for now, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a master envelope on the whole track, and I'm going to use EQUO for that. It's a simple EQ module, and I use it because it's simple. So we can see our profile roughly here. So if you want to like break it up into like a comb, you can click this button here and that'll let you do this. So it might not sound like a whole lot, but in my head, I swear to God, it sounds like something. Sometimes I can't tell if I'm being delusional or if it's actually changing how it sounds. But I've learned to just trust it. Your brain is probably right in most cases. The other part of this module that I really like is the pan, and that will bring most of your sounds alive. And remember, this module is EQ, so it applies to everything. So we can do something like this, and that'll make our sounds on the left and right side, but we can mix it. Sometimes I just play around with it. I like to make cool patterns and see. I know the brain likes synchronicity when things are in line, and sometimes I find things come out of that. If I make the shape of a chord, maybe that'll make something, you know what I mean? Anyway, this is what we have for the moment. It's good enough. We're going to exit out of it and not get too lost into it. And now I'm going to boot up one of my favorite plugins, which is Valhalla Supermassive. And this does not come with FL Studio, but you can get it for free online. And I go to Leo because I'm a Leo. Already that sounds kind of cool, but I don't want to rip off the preset, so I'm going to change it. I like to change it to note because that'll lock it to your BPM. This is a reverb module, so that means it'll lock the module to your BPM, the reverb. So we'll go. So 132 is a very fast reverb, and in this case, it sounds good. So I just realized I changed this away from Leo, but I have it on palm mute, so it's still the preset that I chose, but it's in a different mode, and so it's supposed to sound completely different. Not completely, but like the source. And that doesn't sound too bad. And sometimes you just gotta leave the dials where they are. When it sounds good, it sounds good. But at this point, you've made a soup that has at least 6, 7, 8, 9, or 10 ingredients. And at that point, it's less copying and more cooking. And I hope that's something that I have been able to help with today, and I hope that you got something out of this. If the camera was out of sync this whole time, I'm sorry. I couldn't figure out how to fix it, but if it wasn't, that's great news. Now let's hope that the recording worked. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.